Okay, then let's talk about one of the newest products that you advertised, Crowdestor Flex. So it was announced, I think, a month ago, but then later in an Estonian news site there was a comment. I think Latvian financial regulator was quoted, and they said that Flex service doesn't comply with the EU regulation, and that they consider that Crowdestor shouldn't provide such a service and without the authorization of an investment firm. And then later I think this Flex product was removed from Crowdestor, at least for some part of investors. For others it's maybe still can be seen. Can you comment what
I already mentioned why did we decided to make this Flex, because really it's hard to manage this 30, 20, 50 million euro portfolio with hundreds of different companies. So the idea was to make relatively small portfolio split between several good borrowers, and to concentrate really on bigger borrowers with smaller amount, which can also deliver us regular fees. That's why, and this liquidity and flexibility that is something what investors like a lot. So yes, we have been in negotiations with the regulator, which has opinion that we should get some kind of license, starting from investment fund license even up to a bank license. In my opinion, this company is a lending company, which is raising operational capital. So a very similar example would be that some lending company, as you know, we have many big lending companies in Latvia which are issuing, let's say, car loans. They don't need a license because they're issuing, let's say, to legal entities, so then they don't need a license. So if they would come and raise working capital from us, would this mean that this lending company who doesn't need any license raises working capital? Do they become a bank or an investment fund?
If you mean companies like Mogo, right?
For example. So if Mogo raises working capital from
they
us,
probably need some kind of license to issue loans to consumers.
If they are issuing to consumers, yes. But let's assume that they are issuing loans to legal entities.
Which is not the case.
Yeah, well, there are, let's say, as an example, there are lots of lending companies who are issuing loans
with no licenses?
Yes, of course, because to issue a loan to legal entity doesn't require a license. You need to have this license, which is not from Financial Capital Market Commission, but it is from this consumer right protection. In case if you are issuing loan to individual, then you need a permission from this, but not from Financial Capital Market Commission. So my question, if such a lending company raises working capital from us, do they become a bank or investment fund?
Well, that's not a question I can answer, but
yes, exactly.
But you have some kind of
we have,
conflict
my opinion is that we do not need. Maybe we should explain more and more detailedly what exactly we are doing. That it is a separate company, which is a lending company, which is raising working capital. So that's what we are doing, and we will do. So I have an opinion that we don't need any regulation.
But why is it removed then?
Of course, I don't want to be, I want to cooperate with these institutions. But even if in the end I will get, let's say, legal opinions from all the regulators, whatever it is, Latvia, Estonia, or other countries, that this has to receive some kind of license. Of course, it is not a problem to apply for this license. But in general,
it could be costly. I mean,
well,
and take time.
well, to get a bank license, it is costly, very
Of
costly.
course, I mean,
But if it is some kind of, let's say, small investment fund or asset management or alternative, then there are similar as crowdfunding license. It also will cost something, yes. But I am how to say, of course,
so your position
flexible
is right now that you are talking with these regulators?
If I will be totally convinced from regulators and lawyers that yes, we should have a license, then we will go for it.
But until then, this product is kind of hidden. You will try to solve this issue, then offer it again, right?
Yeah. But a question to you. The example which I mentioned, a lending company which doesn't need any license to do their own business, if raises working capital in one or another crowdfunding platform, does it automatically become fund or bank?
I have no idea, but I think no one could even verify that, because according to your terms, it was said that all the companies that are part of this portfolio, they will be hidden, right?
Yes, but in the same as in such case as I mentioned, you also don't know which loan was issued and which not.
Well, yeah, but I mean, if investors don't know the companies, the regulator probably doesn't know the companies, so they cannot really verify if they later issue loans to consumers or whatever they do with this capital.
Yeah, well, I agree that maybe we should simply, let's say, explain details and if there is something what we have to explain more, and if there's something that we cannot do, we are open. We're open.
But can you tell a bit more about the reason why these companies do you want to hide from investors?
Well, because these are, let's say, our best borrowers, and we are also living in a competition.
So you don't want them to go to other platforms? So that's the competition is the...
Of course. Mm-hmm. If we are lending money with 20 or 25%, then okay, it is, let's say, this company maybe is not so interesting to other platforms because most probably it is very specific case or potentially risky. But if we are issuing loans with 10%, 9 or 12, then it means that those companies are quite big and.
Okay, then. A similar situation, I think, is now with the tickets, right? Your initial plan was to sell 70% of equity to retail investors, and I think about 1/3 or so was sold. I think about 800 were sold, correct?
Approximately.
What's the total amount of money raised from these ticket sales?
I would say.
Could it be roughly like 1 million or more?
No, less. I would say 800,000 approximately.
And is this money already being used for something?
It is not raised actually. It is not raised because that's the money which was raised a year ago, and now it is like they have applied for a conversion.
Yeah, so they converted their
so it's not
their loan to
it
tickets.
Is something what we just now raised.
But if there were no ticket sales, you would need to pay this money back. So the question is, do you have this money at all or no?
Well, of course not. We have been operating and developing Crowdestor for a year, and we have had, in the highest moment, I think, 30 employees. So of course we were using this money
to
for the development, of course, and of course we cannot simply pay everything back to everybody. That's why we are thinking about these, let's say, conversions and to also further fundraising, because we are also thinking about, at the moment we are on a purpose maybe slowing down the new funding, working more, concentrating more on debt collection, which is slow process, which is also expensive process. We also need some expansion and working capital, and that's why we have this in place. But I think the most important, what I want to explain you, is why I decided to do such, let's say, tickets instead of some other passive investor, because I don't want that. I have had some, let's say, people who were ready to step in equity, and we have been negotiating about this, but I do not want, let's say, a person who doesn't understand, let's say, the segment and the sector so well as me or other investors who trust us do. And that's why I wanted to make this community of like-minded people who has the same vision, who likes this business crowdfunding concept, and that's why I wanted really to make community from those people who are on board with us.
Okay, but then these ticket sales were now kind of hidden as well, right? For at least for
we
part
are
of
not
the
selling them. Yes.
So what happened? Is it the same? Some kind of discussion with regulators?
Also, yes. Also, we want to understand, because we want to. It's not that we are avoiding some kind of licensing. We want to understand what exactly opinion is in Estonia, what in Latvia. We have also other, let's say, lots of European Union countries where we can ask for licenses and so on. So we just want to understand which is the country where which things the way as we do.
Mm-hmm. So you are considering moving the company from Latvia or Estonia to
I would like to move from
other...
Estonia to Latvia, of course. I would like to do it.
To Latvia?
Yeah, because, I'm also... there's also such a patriotism, yes, and of course it's better to be here, but...
But these objections about, let's say, this flex service and tickets, are they coming from Latvian regulator or Estonian or both?
It's not that both, it's Latvian or Estonian.
So one of them is not happy about tickets and
Yes.
one is not happy about flex.
But it's not that they are not happy. It's not that they are not
or
happy.
that they are asking questions
Exactly.
or have some kind of objections. So.
Exactly.
Okay, got it. So until these issues are solved, then you kind of have paused these ideas for a while. But could it end up with a situation where this, I don't know which regulator is asking for about it, but that the regulator comes to you and says, hey, so you have 800,000 or so raised from investors for these ticket sales, now refund all back. If that scenario happens, would you be able to repay it or not?
I think that this what you just modeled is not possible, because if we establish a joint stock company this is something not realistic.
You think that such a scenario is not possible at all?
No.
Like zero chance. Okay, but even if it's zero chance event, if it would happen, would Crowdestor be able to do that or not?
Of course.
Well, but then you would need to raise working capital and so on.
If we would have to repay, of course we would repay. The question again, what is the situation in that moment? How good we are doing? Can we do it immediately, or we need 3 months, or 1 year, or 2 years?
Mm-hmm.
Of course, it depends on the business case and of the business situation.
But if it would be today, do you have an account like, let's say, 800k that you could just spend on whatever? Let's say on solving some urgent issues.
I think if you look at our annual reports, you will see that we have had quite a good profit in 2019 and 20 year. Mm-hmm. Quite a good. But of course it is not so big that we can pay everything immediately. So it
would potentially cause some kind of issue. Okay, good.
Of course, it's that's why I said that we have quite big fees because our operations. Actually, this has been a question somewhere publicly. People have been talking about this, that we should a platform should have its fee not issuing the loan but collecting the loan. But actually, this also comes a little bit not logically, because we have to pay the salaries, and then in case if somebody is not repaying, we have to also have some kind of budget for the court. So this is also not like
this I think project description where you sold these tickets, it was described that the money raised from ticket sales will be used for repaying some projects faster and doing some other stuff. So basically, if you are converting debt to ticket sales and there is no money and maybe the money is already spent, then you cannot really repay anything faster, right?
I didn't understand. We cannot repay anything.
Well,
we are repaying.
let me maybe rephrase
we are
it.
repaying. We have been repaying. Part was converted, part was repaid. So we have almost repaid. I don't know, converted or repaid 1.2 million euros in total.
1.2 million was repaid to those who didn't want to convert?
I mean, convert and repaid together. So if we had 1 million plus the interest rate, then let's say 60% was converted, the 40 was repaid, and it has been repaid already.
Okay, understood.
So I don't know, some 500,000 euros I think was repaid.
So those who wanted to get their money back, they are
repaid already.
Okay, good. But in the end, from if let's say you continue with ticket sales and you get maybe new money,
but slowly. It's not like we have to do it today. We will do it slowly, because the plan is also that the last tickets, today we have this situation that we have lots of late loans, maybe someone is not happy because of that reason, other reason, but once we will have all the big projects repaid, some big success fees, and maybe we will explain that yes, you see that this individual solution in terms of this debt collection is efficient, then again, and we will have better reputation and good reputation, then the cost of those tickets will be bigger. So that's that's the plan for next 2 years, not.
And let's say that happens, and you sell remaining tickets for higher price, and you raise maybe let's say 1, 2, 3 million from ticket sales. What will happen to this money? Will you increase share capital?
Yes, exactly. This money, it's not like it's not like selling tickets. It's this money is for the company.
But you are the owner, right? So you are kind of selling your equity.
It's not like selling. It's more like share capital increase.
So all the money will be
Stays
used
in the company,
to increase the share capital.
Yes.
So you will get 0.
I am not selling shares. Yes, that's money for the company.
Got it. So
it's just better to have,
so in a way, you are kind of giving away 70% of equity in exchange for investors increasing money in the company.
Because it's better to have 25 or 40% in a big company instead of 100% in a small company. I think that's also what big companies, IT companies, they are all doing. They have this pre-seed, seed, A round, B round, C, and then of course the shareholders. In the end, they all stay with minority stake.
And what will happen with the money that is now? Let's say the ticket sale continues. What will happen to the money until the point where you set up?
Also, it will be
it just sits in some kind of bank account, or will it be used already?
We have to use it, of course. Also, we have this topic, what to do with our own projects, yes? So it can also be partly used there, simply to faster finalize, to sell it. Once they're sold, it also comes back, so.
Okay, got it. But then, in a way, it could be that investors are just paying, let's say, 1, 2, 3 million to just complete the real estate projects and for them to
Not
get
real
them paid back.
No, not
So it's
real estate.
basically they're paying themselves in a way.
Well, not real estate, not only these projects. I hope that we will have solution in these projects before serious amount of tickets are sold further, but any kind of development of the company.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I'm also theoretically thinking about there is this we are in negotiations also. I'm trying to, let's say, understand details in this new regulation, and it's quite complicated in terms of what will be necessary for loan-based platforms, what will be necessary for equity type of platforms, and then I'm having a feeling that also it will be useful to establish under the platform an investment fund, a structure which is as investment fund, because if we will want to concentrate more on IT projects, as I said, because I would like that it is this Flex, which has a relatively not very big portfolio, because we're not talking about tens of millions under such conditions. We're talking about really a relatively small portfolio, and I would like to have this portfolio of, let's say, equity type of projects, because we at the moment have several very interesting projects, and I see that potentially for these products, yes, this fund license could help. In my opinion, it is not necessary, but maybe maybe we will establish also a fund license.
Okay, got it.
So that's why I said we have these ideas. We like these ideas. We want to implement them. If this license is necessary,
then you get
of course, because the license will not be for us an obstacle not to do something.
Let's talk about funding. So right now, how many people work for Crowdestor?
I think I was counting 17. I think we were counting together at that time. I think it was 17. So we have 4 in debt collection. We have 4 in marketing support. We have 4 in let's say finances. Me, Anatoly, IT. It is approximately 17 years.
And
the highest was almost 30.
What is the monthly burn rate right now?
Good question. 50,000.
And if you look at
60,000
euros per month. Yes. And if you look at the volume that Crowdestor is now funding, I think it's about 500,000 per month.
Well, it has been, if we talk about, so it used to be 4 million in the end of 2019. Then during 2020, I would say it was on average 1.5 million. Now in last months, it has been going down from 1.5 to 1,800, 500. Yeah. But as I said, this is also.
You think the volume will go up again?
This is also because we are we are not trying. We have several very interesting projects. But we are at the moment not publishing them. We want to really to spend more time on this collection.
But I'm just wondering, so if you have, let's say next month, like this 500,000 or so in funded volume, and then your fees on average are like what?
As I said, on average 8% maybe.
8%, then you are quite close at going at zero in terms of cash flow, right? So if the volume goes down from
then we will have some minus, yes, but I think honestly speaking, for us, for such a young company, that's a very good result. If you are in a so short period of time, 2-3 years, plus in a moment when you have this COVID economy has been hit bad, you have lots of late loans, you have all these problems, to be close to zero or 10, 20, 30,000 per month minus, that's, I think, actually it is a very good result.
But do you have any reserves that you could use, or?
Oh, of course we have some reserves, of course.
And these are like how big, like 50k, 500k, 5 million?
It's not 50k, but it's most probably also not unfortunately not 5 million. I would say it is some amount. We are still
several hundred something.
Yeah. So.
Got it. So you could last
at the moment,
at least half a year without.
At the moment, most important for us is to, of course, we are also, let's say, saving the money, trying to operate as efficient as possible, but still the priority is to get the money back, not to start, let's say, cutting all the costs like dramatically.
Got it. Then let's talk about some big projects. So there was another poll in Telegram, and there many investors were quite negative. So 24% said they are ready to join legal action against Crowdestor today, and another 24% said they would join if in 3 months big projects are not repaid. So in total, like, we could assume that half of investors in this Telegram group, maybe like overall it's better, I don't know, but in this group, so they are really waiting for some good news, I guess, from these big projects. And I guess the one big project that was just repaid is Visuals, but what about others? So the movie, Dystopia, any other big projects that?
Well, of course we are also waiting for every repayment, because every repayment means that it's happy investors, potentially reinvested money, commissions earned, statistics better, the positivity more, and also in many cases we also have success fees. So for example, if we talk about Warhunt, then we and investors, we are sharing our part equally, yes. So of course we are interested in repayments, because it also includes, in some cases, our success fees.
And in these big projects, do you expect any good news in next?
I expect good news, yes.
Weeks or months? I think you mentioned like closer to weeks, right?
I think actually I had a discussion before our meeting, and so I didn't manage to call to several of the big projects, but we had agreed that on Monday we will have a discussion. So I will have a call after our meeting, and hopefully I will get something good. Well, in each of these projects there are things which are being at the moment, let's say, in progress, yes.
And then about Fertilizer, that is also one of the big projects, and there is a criminal case, right? My question is why it's not showing up as, I don't know, capital loss in Crowdestor stats?
Because it's still not capital loss. And this is also, we have been receiving many those questions. What happened with this buyback guarantee fund which we promoted? So nothing happened. So it will compensate a proportional share once we will understand that it is capital loss. At the moment, So it's like the last one which pays something.
And
Because
so
at the
what
moment,
has,
at the moment,
what
the
has to
portfolio-
happen for you to decide that now it's lost capital?
The company has to finalize this insolvency process, and we understand, yes, so the process is over now. Officially, the administrator has finished the deal or the case. There is a moment when officially the case is closed.
So in cases like there are still criminal processes ongoing.
Of course, the company is running. The company is doing very active promotions publicly. He's paying for these articles, how successful he is. We just had this article that turnover was 10 million euros and profit 1.6 million euros.
And
so of course we cannot consider that this case is closed because it is.
Okay, so you might recover still something. But if you talk about this buyback guarantee, I think you changed the rules for it at one point, but now if I visit the page, it says that description and explanation to be announced.
Yeah, so basically what is the idea? The idea initially was that we would compensate, for example, if project is 500,000 euros, total portfolio is 5 million. So 500,000 versus 5 million, that's 10%. So that project would be able to take 10% from the buyback guarantee because it has a 10%, from the total portfolio. Then when the portfolio grew bigger, many said that it is very, useless because it's very little amount. Then we said, and then we started to think some kind of other formulas. But if we compensate more to one project, it means that other ones could not get. So that's why we have this idea. What is more important, that everybody with the guarantee gets something, or
the first
several
projects
more.
that fail get more.
Exactly. My opinion is that, in the beginning I was ready to, think about a new mechanism. On the other hand, now I think that it's better that everybody gets smaller amount, but everybody. Otherwise, they will start to say, so now, but why exactly this was first, this was delayed, and you should have defaulted it faster. So then we might have such unpleasant discussions.
But shouldn't it be triggered in a similar way like these buybacks work in other platforms when a project or loan is in default, not when everything is completely lost?
Actually, the word buyback is very bad because when we made this, I think that, some big platforms had this. But all those other platforms which were using this word, they did not exist yet, and that's why in one moment we changed it to a provision fund.
It's provision fund.
So this provision fund is a better name in my opinion. But from the very beginning we said that this will be a compensation in the end if in some project there will be a loss.
And then about this provision fund, I think you should have about 400,000 euros. Is this money separated somewhere? Can you prove that it still exists? Because it could be spent on salaries or whatever, something else.
It's it is our money. Of course, we don't hold it in some kind of other account somewhere. Because
so it's not separated from your daily expenses?
No, it is not separated. It is not separated. And in the same time, of course, we understand that when we will have to pay these compensations, they will be small compensations because it will not happen that in one day, so suddenly all the projects are out of insolvency process. And this is again what I'm saying, that why I am sometimes against court and against insolvency in a business case, not a real estate case, because this can take years. I am involved in one project where I am buying an asset which has court case against the bank for 7 years, and the bank has not won the case yet. 7 years. So sometimes if you have very, how to say, creative lawyers, it can take so long time, and that's why really better sometimes, in my personal opinion, to try to look for a solution and to help the borrower to get out of those problems instead of start 7-year court.
Sure. Then can you tell us a bit more about the payments? When investors pay you, they send money to ConnectPay.
Yes.
Lithuanian some kind of system. But when they withdraw, then it comes from, I think, Crowdestor Pay, and it comes as a refund. Why is it as a refund? And why from a different account?
No, it's the same account. So Crowdestor Pay is using ConnectPay as his subcontractor, let's say like this, because we don't have direct link to National Bank of Lithuania yet, but very soon we will have. So when investors are depositing, actually it goes exactly to the same account where from which it comes also back. Because I think that in some details, if you look in the details, then you will see that the ConnectPay is indicated as the.
So it's like kind of gateway, but the account is the same.
Exactly. So.
But why is it described as refund? That's not the case, right? So it's not a refund; it's like a withdrawal.
It is withdrawal, yes.
But in the payment description, you say that it's refund when investors withdraw money.
I have never withdrawn money.
Okay, so
I will have a look. I don't know.
Okay, there was one investor that asked some questions about these Georgian loan portfolios. So he said that Crowdestor promised to update monthly on collection results from these loans and never delivered. And is it that difficult to get signed monthly report from collection agency?
So, the initial process was that we founded this project, and there was a company who bought this portfolio.
Yeah.
So now we have said that we are stepping out of this agreement and we want to take it over.
So you will take over the portfolio?
Yes. We, of course, for us it is not possible actively to get engaged in collection because you need to have local people, lawyers who are paying the court fees and submitting those applications.
Claims, yeah.
So that's why we have two options: whether to sell it, what we are trying to look for a buyer, or to hire some kind of this.
So you still haven't decided yet?
We have had some discussions with potential buyers, but not successful. Not successful. It takes and it is well, it costs and takes time. Yes.
Vormsate Castle and Medical Center Aizupe. So in the project description, owners were described as some kind of, I don't know, Israelis, doctors and
not owners, but investors and partners. Yes.
Okay, investors and partners. But the company actually is owned by Anastasia Toro. So
yes.
Can you tell more about her?
Well, that's basically a family-owned and managed project. They have been involved in this for a long time.
So she is connected to the real partners?
So basically, they are her family, not only her. That's like a family working on that project. And
I checked the report of this Generation Homes here that borrowed the money, and
in this case we have this first-hand collateral, and it is not like as in a business case. We're not so much maybe analyzing what is the experience of the management and how professional are they and what kind of other things they have done. In this case, more it is against the real estate.
But when I checked the 2020 report, it was basically empty, inactive company. It was balance sheet of 2,000 euros.
Yes. Basically, we are funding money versus.
But where did the money go that was raised? Shouldn't it show up in the report?
In which year?
2020.
But I think the deal finalized on 21.
In the Crowdestor site, I think it was.
No, so
at least one of the projects was.
There are two
before.
projects. So there are two projects.
Yeah.
One was initially bought our company on our
So
own
this
company.
Vormsate Castle 2019.
Exactly, that was bought by
September.
our SPV. Then, but in the beginning we were talking about both deals. One was simply also put on hold because money was not, let's say, we were not raising so much money. That's why we put Aizupe on hold. Once the situation normalized, the borrower made this generation home company.
Mm-hmm.
We issued a loan to that company to buy the other Aizupe, and this also bought over this SPV.
Mm-hmm.
So now we have collaterals on both of those assets, and this one of our SPV, which was controlled by us, now is sold to them.
Mm-hmm. About regulation, can you tell if you have taken any steps to become regulated so far?
We have. First of all, as you see, we are starting to sell these SPVs.
Mm-hmm.
The one which I just mentioned also was in the list. We have been in contact with the regulator. We have a consultant who will help us to prepare all the details. So we have.
And in which country will Crowdestor be
We're
regulated?
starting with Latvia, of course.
So you try to find a solution for Latvia.
Mm-hmm.
If not, then.
Estonia, Lithuania, whatever it is.
But Europe, definitely. So you will have to comply to these new European rules and so on. But do you see that is there a risk that you will be forced to somehow, I don't know, freeze operations or shut down if you cannot comply to this regulation in some way?
But there is nothing very complicated. So basically you need, if we talk about loans, yes? Mm-hmm. Loan crowdfunding. You need to have a procedure, how you evaluate, basically scoring. We have the SME scoring already, so it is paperwork.
So only obstacle could be that you need to exit your own project.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And basically that's your primary plan.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
At this stage. Okay, got it. Business model in general that you have been trying to set up to this point, and it looks like it's not really working, right? At least that's my impression. So you have many late investors, many sad investors, and
many late projects, yeah.
Yeah, and then so some ask for audits or want to start legal action and so on. So the situation could be better, right? And what do you think? Like, do you plan to make any changes? Is it this Flex product or is it something else that?
This is what I said. Yes, the current model is very complicated and very also time-consuming, energy-consuming, and money-consuming for us because to manage the late projects it takes lots of time and energy. To default them immediately, it doesn't bring good result and it costs money. So such non-standard business funding is quite complicated. Yes, but what we will do is, as I said, concentrate more on this, on a smaller amount of projects in this Flex. Mm-hmm. Program and equity, definitely equity type of project, because today if we would have funded Dystopia, War Hunt or some other projects, we would definitely go more for equity. Mm-hmm. And then in case if it is more equity, then you don't have this pressure anymore on the date, because those projects are the fact that War Hunt is late 6 months, it doesn't create this movie better or worse. So the most important is what will be the price for which it will be sold. So even and in my opinion, in some cases, we have I think 15 rounds in Warhunt. So if you look at statistics, then you will see like 15 projects late, but actually it's one project late with 15 rounds. So that statistics actually doesn't give like a very true picture. The same with Dystopia. I think they have some 10 or 12 rounds, and Dijozos had 6 rounds, and Measure Energy some other 12 rounds. So these 4 or 5 projects, they have 50 projects in the statistics. So yes, but then a long story, like long answer short is that I want to concentrate with a more flexible portfolio, like a smaller portfolio from bigger and better borrowers with smaller rate, flexibility, and then these equity.
Okay. Got it. Well,
that's why for me it will be, I think, more important to receive all the licenses: loan, equity, and maybe this fund if it will be necessary.
Okay. Well, that's it from my side for today. Thank you for this discussion, and
thank you for coming and joining. We actually had been talking about this discussion for I think 2 weeks already, 2 months already. Yes, 2 months. That it would be nice.